Okay, I'm going to do a quick example problem for review, just in case you don't remember how to do these. So what we're trying to do is find the vertex, the roots, and the domain and range for each function. Remember, and then we're going to graph the function. So the vertex is the most important point to find when we're graphing. Remember, if we want to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, we use this equation. X is equal to the opposite of b over 2a. A is the number in front of x squared, and b is the number in front of x. So in this case, a is 1, and b is negative 4. So we're going to plug those into our equation here. So x is equal to the opposite of b. So if b is negative 4, the opposite is 4 over 2 times 1. So 4 over 2 is 2. That's the x-coordinate of the vertex. We need to find f of 2 to find the y-coordinate. And if you remember, I showed you this quick trick using your calculator to do that. So if we go to, let me get this in the screen here. If we go here, I'm going to go to store x. Now I've told my calculator x is 2, and then we just type in the function, which is x squared minus 4x minus 5. X squared minus 4x minus 5, and we get a coordinate of negative 9. So I'll go back here. And so now I know my vertex is at 2, negative 9. So I'm going to graph that. So we go over 2, down 9, and that's my first point. Okay, now to finish graphing and to find the roots, and so here I'm going to put my vertex as 2, negative 9. Okay, now let's graph it. So I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to type my function is x function in x squared minus 4x minus 5. Just going to make sure I type that correctly. Yep. Okay. I'm going to graph it quickly so we can see what it looks like. And we've already got the correct vertex. I'm going to go to my table. Now remember, the roots are where y is 0. So that's going to be an important point. And then noting the vertex is going to be an important point because we want to graph on both points, both sides of the vertex. So I'm going to graph the roots 5, 0, and negative 1, 0. 5, 0, negative 1, 0. And then I'm just going to plot 2 more points. Let's do 3, negative 8, and 1, negative 8. 3, negative 8, and 1, negative 8. And you can see a nice parabola forming. So we get a nice graph there. Now remember, the roots are where the graph crosses the x-axis. Okay, so the roots are at x equals negative 1 and x equals 5. Okay, for a parabola, the domain is always going to be negative infinity to infinity because the domain describes any possible x value. And because this is getting wider and wider in the x direction forever, our domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. Our range is bottom y value to top y value. So the bottom y value is negative 9, which again is the y-coordinate of our vertex. And then this is going to go up forever, so our x value is infinity. So that's how you would do one of these problems. I just want to point out a couple of things. If nothing is written for one of the terms, then you can assume it's 0. So here, negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 0, c is 0. Here, there's no x term. So you can assume that in here would be a 0x. So b, if there's no x term written, b is 0. Okay, I think that should be enough for you to do these problems.